The American Southwest, rich with Native American history, famous monuments, deep canyons, arid deserts, and strange plant life. We've only skirted the Southwest on past adventures. Now, join us as we road trip into this vast dry land, visiting roadside attractions, national parks, and off-grid campsites along the way, from Indiana to Arizona. Hey fellow expeditionists, we are on our winter road trip right now. We're currently somewhere in the Missouri Ozarks, driving through, hopefully heading to some new states for us. We're going to hit Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas, and hopefully, if all goes right, Arizona. So our plan on this trip is to drive straight through to get to our first destinations in New Mexico. But we always like to look for any kind of roadside attractions. We didn't really have any expected, but come find out, we can make a stop inside Uranus. We are at Uranus, Missouri, here outside of St. Roberts. And it is a Fudge Factory. Let's go see what they got. Hey, Caden, let's enter Uranus.
Yeah.
There is actually a Uranus Fudge Factory back in Indiana, though we've never been to it. So this was our first experience, and let me just say, it lives up to the hype. I couldn't stop laughing the whole time. What a great way to stretch your legs on a long road trip. Alright, a visit to Uranus Fudge Factory is completely worth it. That was absolutely hilarious, and the employees absolutely play it up. That's great little fun little stop here. Do you like Uranus, Catfish?
Yeah, it's pretty big in there.
You can fit a lot of stuff in Uranus, huh?
It gets pretty tight.
Somewhere here is allegedly the world's largest belt buckle. There it is. Bet you can't fit that in Uranus. Uranus Fudge Factory, that was a fun little stop there, unexpected completely, but we need to get back on the road and get going to our main destinations. We kept moving, passing through Missouri and Oklahoma, on a route we've never driven before. Some people say I'm kind of crazy for doing these long road trips instead of just flying, but there's no better way to experience America than a classic road trip. And believe it or not, it's a lot cheaper to drive than it is to buy plane tickets these days, plus car rental once you get there. Not to mention, I wouldn't be able to pack all of my hiking and camping gear. Maybe someday I'll take up flying, but for now, I still have a lot of America I need to see. Alright folks, we drove over 1,000 miles today. We are now on the outskirts of Amarillo, Texas. We are at the travel center. This is where we're going to get a few hours of sleep tonight. We've got the Subaru already set up, and that's something that's probably new to most of our viewers. We have a 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Wilderness that we are traveling in now. So I'll show that to you real quick, and you're going to see it throughout this video. So it's about 47 degrees right now. As you can tell, it's getting foggy here in North Texas. Still better than back home in Indiana. Let's take a look at the Subaru real quick. So believe it or not, there is just as much, if not more, space in the back of this Crosstrek than there was in that Jeep Cherokee we had been using. I still have the Jeep Cherokee, but this here is going to be much more trustworthy. Yeah, I actually feel more comfortable in the back of this Crosstrek than what I did in the Jeep Cherokee. And the main reason is that it's actually wider, with the Cherokee, the larger tires pushed in the wheel wells more, making it a much tighter fit. And the Subaru doesn't do that, so this is pretty comfy back here, isn't it, Catfish?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. Day number 2 on the road. Currently here in Amarillo, Texas, and we've got about 3 more hours to get to our first destination of this trip. We headed southwest out of Amarillo, and it was quite obvious we were in a totally different landscape than we had last seen in light. We were still in Oklahoma during last night's sunset, so while driving in the dark, the landscape had changed from grassy rolling hills to the mostly flat, arid terrain we now found ourselves in. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. This is day number 2 on our winter road trip. We have now made it into New Mexico for our first stop of this trip, and it's going to be out of this world.
Just like Uranus.
An alien happy holiday. Seems legit. Alright, we are at the UFO Museum here in Roswell. I've always been fascinated by the Roswell story from 1947. Seen many of the documentaries and the movies, and of course what the official statements are. So we're going to go in here and check this out. Just have a little bit of fun with it. Told me that isn't quite how they found them, but I'm gonna learn the history, buddy.
Yep.
I told you that the petroglyphs were alien in nature. I really like that this place has both the history of the Roswell accident itself in 1947, all the explanations that the military gave, and of course all of the sightings and of actual people, and some of the people even went back on some of the story that they were forced to tell back in 1947. But it also goes into just a lot of the pop culture UFO stuff, such as Ancient Aliens and some of the movies and stuff that were influenced by Roswell and such. So kind of an interesting place, just kind of a fun thing to speculate. I think we're getting ready to fly our own UFO in here, buddy.
Yeah, ma'am.
Warp trial engaged. 3, 2, 1.
Another cool feature here at the UFO Museum in Roswell is they actually have a research library. And when we first started walking into it, I thought it would be a joke, but it is no joke. It is a true full library in here. About anything you could imagine, I'm guessing, on the UFO subject. And back here, you've even got documents upon documents of UFO research. I mean, by the year. Yeah, say what you want, but this is pretty neat. I bet you didn't realize there were so many books on the unexplained and UFOs, huh?
Right.
Yeah, we like to joke all the time about things of the unexplained, from aliens and Bigfoot and such, but who knows? There's all kinds of things out there none of us can explain. All right, so we got out of Roswell. There's more there that we would have loved to have seen, but we just don't have a whole lot of time. So we're just keeping ourselves moving, and we're now in Carlsbad, New Mexico, checking things out. We drove by the Gardens and Living Zoo. We would love to stop and check that out too. Just not enough time, but we heard there's a cool drive up here, and it was pretty cool. So we're up here at the scenic point right now. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the New Mexico desert so far?
Seems pretty neat.
Yeah, we got pretty excited for all the things we're going to see over this next few days here in the deserts in the winter. All right, we are on the road towards Carslbad Caverns National Park. Going to be a whole new one for us. Really looking forward to it. We have a reservation window that we have to be in there to do a self-guided tour between 1:30 and 2:30. And that's why we're kind of in a hurry and can't really stop and do some of these little side adventures that maybe we normally would. Of course, I've often said that I tend to overbook some of these road trips. Got too many things to try to do, and we never really have time to relax. And this trip is probably one of the worst for that. We have things to do every single day in different locations. And to top it off, of course, yesterday was the winter solstice, which means these are the shortest days of the year as far as daylight goes. So it gives us only a certain amount of time to be able to get outside and enjoy it. But we're going to make the best of it. Let's see what we can do. All right, the visitor center has some really good information here. Everything you could possibly want to know, and of course, lots of information from the rangers inside there as well. Right now we're heading out, taking the trail to the natural entrance. It's really cool out here. The atmosphere is, well, it's very much southwest. We have done many cave tours, including most of the public caves in southern Indiana, Mammoth Cave and other associated caves in Kentucky, as well as caves in Tennessee and Virginia. But none of them have an entrance as impressive as Carlsbad Caverns. While the hike from the natural entrance is only 1.25 miles, it drops 75 stories to the bottom chamber. That is nearly the height of the Empire State Building.
We haven't even gotten to the bottom yet and we're seeing formations. I think we finally made it to the bottom.
Here we enter the Big Room, also known as the Hall of the Giants. This is the largest underground chamber in North America, at almost 4,000 feet long, 625 feet wide, and 255 feet high at its highest point. The floor space it covers is more than 357,000 square feet. All right, I tell you what, we almost skipped Carlsbad Caverns on this trip just because we have so many other things that were on our schedule, but I'm so glad that we made time for it. First, the scenic drive up here was awesome because this is the easternmost section of the Guadalupe Mountains, and then that cave was just so much more than I expected. It had been a great day exploring both Roswell and Carlsbad Caverns, but the early winter sunset was coming up quick, so we had to find our boondocking site for the night. I used the iOverlander app to look up BLM sites in the area, and we didn't have to go far. We took a rough road up the hill just north of White's City that offers a great view of the plains down below, bathed in light from the evening sunset. All right, we got us a beautiful New Mexico desert sunset going on back here. We're up on the side of a mountain straight north of the Carlsbad Caverns area, south of the town of Carlsbad. On BLM land, multiple sites up here on this mountain. Not a single other person up here so far, but granted it is like 5:30 p.m. It's still early. It's just that when it gets dark, what do you do when you're out camping like this? So we're just going to enjoy this experience. It's gorgeous up here. It is a lot of solitude. There are obviously some lights out there because there are cities in the distance. You can get some of the road noise from way in the distance from the really loud trucks, but other than that, we got this to ourselves. What do you think, Caden?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Not bad at all. The only thing I worry about is it's supposed to rain tomorrow. Tomorrow is our big day in Guadalupe Mountains National Park that we had planned on doing one awesome hike and staying the night somewhere around there. And now it's looking like the weather is going to turn on us and potential for rain almost all day. So, I don't mind getting a little bit wet. Cade's not quite as excited about it, so we'll just have to see what happens there.
Yeah.
But we're on a tight schedule. We've got things planned every single day, and if something doesn't work out one day, we're probably just gonna have to skip it and move on to the next.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just an adventure for us, and we're literally winging it. We have one goal in mind, and we're going to make sure that happens. There is a fire ring, but we are not going to do any kind of fires. It's just way too dry right now, at least until the rains come tomorrow. Yep, Subaru and its natural environment. All right, it is pitch dark at 6 p.m. and so we've got some time to kill. We were just thinking about what brought us here. Why are we camped out in the deserts of New Mexico right now? And only got a few days really to do this trip from Indiana to Arizona. And, we considered our usual thing going back to Florida, maybe the Forgotten Coast, Ocala, Everglades, Key West, whatever it may be. But we really wanted to do something different, and there's one thing specifically that we have not gotten to see yet, the American Southwest, that I've always wanted to. In 2018, we did a major trip out west that hit a lot of the deserts, and we've been to the deserts multiple times since then. But when I was growing up, there was always one thing specifically that I associated with the deserts. But it's not necessarily true. It's only found in the extreme southern parts of Arizona. What is that?
The saguaro cactus.
Exactly. We never have seen the actual saguaro. And when I was growing up, all the westerns took place in places that had the saguaro. And so in my mind, that's what deserts were. They had the saguaro cacti. And in 2018, we didn't go far enough south, and we've never since been that far south. And this is our one opportunity, because in the summertime, when we have the time to do that kind of trip, it's just too hot. So we're going to make it happen this time, aren't we?
Yeah. We always come out here wanting to see the supposed dark sky and the stars, but
we always get the moon. Good morning and welcome to day 3. Today we will be crossing the border into Texas. First time in the state for me, with plans for a cool hike in Guadalupe Mountains National Park. Unfortunately, for the next day and a half, the media mod on my GoPro started glitching, so I lost a lot of audio. I had originally hoped to be hiking up to Guadalupe Peak, which is the highest point in the state of Texas. However, there was a high wind advisory for the day, and we were already being buffeted by the winds, and there was the threat of rain. So we chose what we believed to be an easier trail that would offer some protection from the wind. Come along as we hike up the Devil's Hall Trail. The Devil's Hall Trail is a strenuous route that departs from the Pine Springs Trailhead and is just over 4 miles out and back, with 600 feet elevation gain. The trail follows a sandy dirt path for the first mile before dropping into the wash for the remainder of the hike, with lots of rock scrambles that can be very slippery when wet.
The moment we're stopped just shy of the end of this trail. We haven't quite made it to the main features yet, but it is sprinkling, and we just want to make sure it's not going to get too heavy before we get up there into the real canyon area. Well, here you go. Devil's Hall Trail accomplished. The rain didn't stop us. Well, not yet anyway. We still have to go all the way back. But what a beautiful, gorgeous trail. Loved it. Well, guys, that was an awesome hike up to Devil's Hall there. Guadalupe Mountains National Park. There are definitely more hikes that we want to do there, but the weather is definitely not cooperating for us. The rain did come. It is raining right now as I record this. But we are on a tight schedule, and we're going to try to stick to it. We're back on the road already. Probably heading west a few hours until we find a place to boondock for the night and move on tomorrow morning.
We continued along the northwest edge of Texas, skirting below the Guadalupe Mountains to the outer edges of El Paso. I originally intended to boondock somewhere in this area, but instead we decided to continue west, trying to travel as far as possible so that we would be closer to tomorrow's adventure locations. What I didn't expect was for it to be such a beautiful drive along the way, passing directly through Franklin Mountains State Park and the Organ Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument in the distance. This is definitely an area that I need to explore someday.
Good morning, fellow expeditionists. This is day number 4, I think. We ended up spending the night last night just outside of Lordsburg, New Mexico. stayed in a rest area there just because it offers us the fastest spot to stop and get out of. Lots of places down here, of course, to boondock, but we really just want to make it to our next destination. That, and also we had Taco Bell for dinner last night, and you just never know when that's going to hit you. So it's nice to have those restrooms nearby. You know how I keep talking about staying on schedule to fit everything in? Today is the day that all goes out the door. Our intention is to spend the day hiking at Chiricahua National Monument in southeast Arizona. Chiricahua has awesome rock formations with some great trails, and it is under consideration to be America's next national park. However, I put my trust into Google Maps to get us there, as Google has never let me down prior to this trip. But there's a first for everything. Google Maps took me off the main roads at Bowie, Arizona, and through pecan and nut plantations, before heading up a narrow mountain road and quickly turned into dirt. But with all the storms that had rolled through yesterday and overnight, we were finding water across the muddy road, and being out here by ourselves, I just didn't trust any water crossings. Well, we're here in the Chiricahua Mountains, just near the Fort Bowie historic site area. But we come up on this water across here, and the mud is thick, and all the signs keep saying, if water's across the road, do not enter. And I think the Subaru can make it, but I can't guarantee it. So I think we're probably going to cut this little adventure into the Chiricahua Mountains short and head back. So we were trying to get to the Chiricahua National Monument. We had an 8-mile hike today planned for there, and beautiful scenery supposedly. Google Maps took us on that direction up the mountains on that gravel road that most of the year would have been perfectly fine. With all the signs saying do not enter flooded roadways, we played it safe. And to get back around to go there would take us probably hours out of our way to find roads that are paved. So we're just going to scratch it. It's something to put a tack in and come back someday too. We're going to keep on heading to our next destination. Our plans are always fluid. Things like this happen. It was still great scenery. Enjoyed the adventure, but we're going to move on. We actually did pass by the proper route to get to Chiricahua further west down the interstate, but we had already lost an hour taking the wrong way, and with the time it would take to get back going the right way, we wouldn't have enough time to complete the 8-mile hike before sunset. So we decided to spend an extra day in the Tucson area for the holidays, and finally see a saguaro cactus forest. Unfortunately, my GoPro Media Mod was still glitching. We arrived at the Saguaro National Park East Unit, stoked to be in this land of crazy cacti, unlike anything we've ever experienced. We took the scenic 8-mile drive, with intent on finding a trailhead to hike into this cactus forest. However, there's very limited parking within the scenic drive, especially on this busy Christmas Eve day, so we ultimately had to drive to the north side of the park and hike in that way. We drove up to Speedway Boulevard on the northern edge of the park, where we found parking at the Douglas Spring Trailhead. The entire northern section of the park here is crisscrossed with multiple trails, allowing hikers to put together any length of hike that they want. Here is a crested saguaro, which forms when an unusual mutation results in the growth of a large fan-shaped crest at the top. This rare mutation is estimated to only affect 1 in every 200,000 cacti. We took a lunch break on a hill overlooking the landscape, and this is when I finally discovered the audio issue with my GoPro. A small lizard joined us on the rocks, apparently being the only non-avian wildlife willing to come out on this December day. We took us a little break there, a little bit of lunch, nice scenery. Then it kind of hit us. It's like 2 o'clock. This is December 24th. It's going to be dark in 3 hours or less. We can't really just dawdle around here if we want to get any kind of hiking in. We gotta move. Gnarly. Growing up, I just always imagined that the deserts in all of the West had saguaro, because that's how Hollywood depicted it in every Western movie and TV show. You always had the saguaro there. It was the main iconic thing. You knew it was a Western when you seen that. Well, we came out to the southwest specifically to hike among the saguaro. Mission accomplished. Well, I think that worked out pretty well. We ended up at the Douglas Springs Trailhead instead of inside the main scenic loop, and it worked out just fine. We did at least 4 miles out there today. Yeah, not bad at all. So we got to actually do the scenic loop and then come out here to probably what would be a less crowded trails. We only ran across a few people. Most of the time we had it to ourselves, so bonus.
Can you picture smell food?
Yep.
Yeah, chopping broccoli.
After hiking among the saguaros, Catfish joked, as he often does, time for Miguel's, because that's where we always go after a great hike in Red River Gorge. So I looked up that cool New York-style pizza place, little local spot, and yeah, that was yummy. So loved that. Now, we're going to do something we don't usually do. So we decided, since we're going to be in the Tucson area for close to 3 days, to just go ahead and get us a hotel room. I mean, it is the holidays. We might as well do this one at least for a couple of days in some decent luxury. Good morning. It is day number 5. We are on our way to the west side of Tucson to see Saguaro National Park, the West Unit. We had a great night last night in our hotel. Very swanky for us because we don't usually do that. Had a little breakfast this morning there. That was good. We'll be back there again tonight. It's kind of luxurious for us here on the holidays. Today we're going out to Saguaro National Park and we're going to see some more awesome cacti. So today's hike starts from the Kings Canyon Trailhead, which is actually in the Tucson Mountain Park, but all the trails lead directly into Saguaro National Park. We're going to be doing a loop about 3 to 4 miles on the Gold Mine Trail, and then coming back the Kings Canyon Wash, where we're going to be looking for potential petroglyphs. All right, we already made it to the end of the Gold Mine Trail here. At this point, we take the Sendero Esperanza Trail down to the King Canyon Trail. But first, I think I want to check out some cool viewpoints up here. The Gold Mine Trail skirts the remains of an old copper mine dating back to 1907. So of course, we had to check it out. And obviously, here is the structure. This is the old mine shaft. It is said to be more than 360 feet deep. The mine only operated from 1905 to 1912,
but it's still pretty cool to see these old mining relics left behind. Some awesome views up here. All right, we are now in the Kings Canyon wash, heading back down. We'll go through this little canyon-like area, check out some of the rock formations and see if there's any petroglyphs to be found. And here we have outright Turon activity. Somebody doing very childish crayon markings on the side of these walls where there are a lot of petroglyphs. Pathetic people. Well, Caden, after 2 days now of hiking amongst the saguaro, is it starting to feel just kind of normal to you now?
A little bit.
A little bit. All right, that was a pretty nice hike we just did there from the Kings Canyon trailhead on the west side of Saguaro National Park. Right now I'm going to head towards the Visitor Center. But the Visitor Center will be closed today. It is Christmas Day. But there should be a scenic loop over here that we're just going to kind of relax and drive around. Pretty cool loop right there. I really enjoyed that. It really puts you up close and personal with them from inside your car. So if you're ever coming out here to the west side of Saguaro and you don't really have time for a hike, I recommend that loop there. That was good. I think right now we've got some time to kill, so we're going to head out to an area called Ironwood Forest National Monument. Just see what's there. So before we decided to get the hotel room, since we're staying in Tucson for like 3 days, Ironwood Forest was actually one of the areas I had seriously considered for boondocking. So that's another reason that it was even on my radar to go out there. So that's where we're headed. So right now I'm going to eat a gummy. No, not that kind of gummy. This is a gummy made from prickly pear cactus. So let's see how it is. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, scratch that, at least for the trail we were going to take. And it's the one that actually also goes out to the boondocking areas.
because that trail is extremely muddy and I can see a lot of ruts in there from trucks or people have gone back there playing. So I don't need all that right now. I found a second hiking trail in the area that had some potential, but once again, when I put the directions into Google Maps, it took me to this Jeep trail. Apparently Google Maps thinks this is a normal road. Maybe here in Arizona it is. But being out here on my own, I wasn't going to risk getting stuck and having a massive recovery bill to pull me out. So we found a third option. Well, third time's a charm. This is the third trailhead we've tried to reach here in the Ironwood Forest National Monument. The first two are basically inaccessible because they required Jeep trails to get to. The one was pretty much too muddy to get through, and the other one had ruts that I don't even know if a Jeep would get around. So we found one finally at the Waterman Peak Trail that we're going to check out and just see how much we can do of this while we have some daylight. The Waterman Peak Trail is about 1.5 miles up and back, with close to 600-foot elevation gain. Waterman Peak itself stands at 3,808 feet above sea level, though we wouldn't have time to fully summit the peak. There's your view, buddy. All right, the saddle here is not the end of the All Trails Trail. It is up on this peak back here. I'm going to finish it. Pretty sure Caden will too. Into the sun we go. Into the sun. Getting there, but yeah, it's steep. And this rock is sharp. All right, another saddle. All right, so somebody in a little better shape than me that has a little more daylight left in the day could definitely finish and get to the top of that peak. But this here is a really good viewpoint, and that is where we are calling it. Check it out. I can see my car from here. After a great day of cool views and exploring this landscape, we made our way back to our hotel in Tucson to get some rest and do it all again tomorrow. Good morning. Day number, I think it's 6 now. We checked out of our hotel here in Tucson. We're not done with Tucson yet. We have one more stop just to the northeast, and it's a little bit different for us. I know you're probably tired of hearing that, but yeah, it's a little bit different for us, and we're really looking forward to it.
Hey fellow expeditionists, we're at Biosphere 2, part of the University of Arizona.
For my viewers that are over 40 years old, you may remember an experiment in the early 1990s called Biosphere 2. It was an ambitious project where they built a fully enclosed habitat to research and develop self-sustaining technology specifically for space colonization. The first mission sealed researchers, called Biospherians, inside the glass enclosure for 2 years to measure survivability. The mission ran into many problems and even inspired the 1996 Pauly Shore comedy Biodome. Today, Biosphere 2 is owned by the University of Arizona, dedicated to understanding the impacts of climate change. So the tour is self-guided here at Biosphere 2, and they even have an app to guide you through. So bring your headphones, download the app, and go on the tour. We started our tour checking out the history of the original Biospherians. Their living quarters, and even many of their journals are on display. Even though that first mission was considered a failure, much can be learned from that experience.
That is the door that they went through and sealed that day. And this is an interview booth. When TV people came, or even their local family members came, and they wanted to talk to them and see them, they could see them through this window and talk on the speakerphone in the back of this gentleman's head. That's how they communicated with their families.
Biosphere 2 features several significant ecological areas. There's the tropical rainforest, the ocean, Landscape Evolution Observatory, coastal fog desert, mangroves, and savanna. Today, there is active research being done in all of them. This is right up Caden's alley. This is the kind of stuff he's currently studying at Purdue University.
What do you think of this biosphere so far, Caden?
Pretty neat.
Pretty neat. Can you just imagine living inside there for 2 years? Or even more so, doing it on a different planet?
That would feel pretty isolating, wouldn't it?
It would be isolating. That's awesome. Pretty cool stuff. It's all like sciencey and stuff. It's like we found the ocean. Back outside. I think we're about done with the tour. What a cool landscape with such an interesting piece of scientific property. It's kind of like walking through Purdue by all their greenhouses, except on a massive scale.
You can even see some leaves at the top rotting onto the grass.
Yeah.
All right, Biosphere 2 was pretty cool. Just seeing the history from it, from back when they had the Biospherians that lived in there for 2 years, completely isolated, like 30 some years ago. And then, of course, seeing all the science that is currently being done by the University of Arizona there. Really cool to see. We're on the road again. We are heading north. Now, I'm going to be honest here. This was not on our original plan, but we adjusted. We are going to the Grand Canyon. That's one of those places that is typically considered a bucket list thing to see, and we've never seen it. We've skirted the area once, like 5-6 years ago, and I don't know, we just want to see it. I'm going to have a hard time driving up there, though, because we're going to be passing so many amazing areas here in Arizona. Everything is around Sedona, all the national monuments, all of the awesome Native American sites and everything, we're going to have to just do sightseeing straight through so that we can fit in Grand Canyon. I set in a course toward Flagstaff, Arizona. As much as I wanted to go to Sedona, I knew that would be a mistake due to our limited time. You see, my workplace had shortened our holiday, forcing us back to work 2 days earlier than expected for line trials and a line fill. Sedona is a destination all by itself, so we'll come back in the future. In the meantime, our route would have us skirt the Superstition Mountains, drive through a couple of mountain parks near Phoenix, and ultimately through Coconino National Forest. Good morning, fellow expeditionists. What is this, day 7? I don't know, it's something like 6 or 7. We are waking up now in Flagstaff, Arizona. It is about 18 degrees out. It's funny how just travel just a few hours farther north in the same state and what a difference the temperatures can make. But it's also because we are higher in elevation, heading further north today. So we exited the Coconino National Forest, and we're now in the Carslbad National Forest, which just kind of amazes me, all the different terrains we've driven through, just going from southern Arizona to northern Arizona. We went from the cactus forest into pine forest and mountains and snow, now back down into a kind of a juniper forest. It's really interesting. Where are we at, Caden?
We're at the Grand Canyon.
That's right. Now this trip, originally this wasn't part of our plan, but we decided to add it on because, I mean, when you're here in Arizona, it's a chance you gotta just take it. Those first views of the canyon are almost impossible to comprehend. We walked along the scenic viewpoints near the Grand Canyon Village in awe. Even with the large holiday crowds, seeing this natural wonder was truly inspiring. It is a very busy day, of course, here in the Grand Canyon. We started our day out at the main village, and of course it got crowded fast, and really the only thing you could do there is the rim trail, because the Bright Angel Trail is closed about half-mile down for some kind of construction project they got going on. So we're just kind of hiking along the rim trail right now. I think we're going to check out the Ooh-Ah Point. With the Bright Angel Trail being closed, we chose to take the Kaibub Trail down to Ooh-Ah Point. This was during the Christmas holiday, so the park was very crowded, and they all seemed to have the same idea as us, to get below the rim. What do you think of Ooh-Ah Point, Caden?
Kind of looks like cotton candy.
Cotton candy, all the variation of colors, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say. Going down is optional, but going back up is mandatory. So we gotta head back up. We've just reached the base of the switchbacks to the top. Look at the ants going up the hill.
It's just like the ants in Biosphere 2.
That is amazing.
Got us some elk right here off the trail. Cool to see, get a little bit of wildlife while we're out here. There's all the ants crawling around on Ooh-Ah Point that we were just at not even an hour ago. We're currently up on the rim trail. We got this shot of it. All right, so that was our first experience here at the Grand Canyon National Park. Really cool, really busy, awesome experience. Caden, got any thoughts?
It's crazy. It's almost like we're ants on a line to the Ooh-Ah Point. The Grand Canyon is also so big, we kind of feel like ants climbing down it.
We sure did. Of course, it's super busy because these are the holidays and everybody's on holiday, including us. And everybody come down here because the Bright Angel Trail is closed right now. We would have probably hiked the Bright Angel as well, but we took what we had, and even though it was crowded and we were all shoulder to shoulder out there at the Ooh-Ah Point, it was a great experience with amazing views. I guarantee it won't be our last time here. Awesome experience there at the Grand Canyon. Great to check that off the old bucket list. Right now we are heading east, still in Grand Canyon National Park at the moment. We're going to be heading out of it soon, look for something to eat, and deciding what the rest of this trip entails. We'll see where the road takes us.
Our time in the Southwest was quickly drawing to a close, as I had to be back to work in less than 3 days. It's been a whirlwind trip, but included a lot of firsts for us. We've added 3 new states to our adventures list, first time in the Sonoran Desert and seeing saguaro cacti, 4 new national parks, and a national monument. But we're not quite done yet. I've got one more area that I've always wanted to explore.
Well, I was trying to make it to Monument Valley before it got dark on us. It is 5 p.m. right now, and as you can see, it got dark on us. Just making out the outlines of things, just being able to see a little bit, so we're going to enjoy as much as we can. But 5 p.m. is just too early to stop and set up camp when we could make so much time. So we're just going to have to take what we can get.
As amazing as Monument Valley is, time was not on our side. My goal at this point was to make it to Valley of the Gods in southeast Utah. It's BLM land, has similar features to Monument Valley, and most importantly, it allows dispersed camping. I hated having to arrive after dark, so we wouldn't be going too far in to find a camp spot.
I really dislike trying to find boondocking sites after dark, especially in areas that I'm unfamiliar with and never been to. But this is an area that I knew would have lots of sites. We are currently in the Valley of the Gods in the southeast corner of Utah, just northeast of Monument Valley. I hated coming in here after dark also because I know how spectacularly beautiful it should be. So we're going to camp out here tonight. Hopefully we can stay warm and possibly get to look at it in the morning.
Good morning, fellow expeditionists. Now, as you saw, we drove in last night after dark looking for a boondocking site here in the Valley of the Gods. And now that the sun is rising, we're finally getting to see the beauty of the area and what we're camped in.
All right, the sun has risen, casting some great light, at least on the left side of the valley. We're going to cruise it. Now, the first 2 miles we already missed because it was driving into the dark. I don't think we missed too much, so we're going to continue through here and just check out these awesome views.
Valley of the Gods is a scenic backcountry area with similar scenery to that of Monument Valley, with towering pinnacles, isolated buttes, and wide open spaces. It features a 17-mile scenic gravel road from which most of the sites can be seen. The Valley of the Gods is managed by the Bureau of Land Management and is part of the larger Bears Ears National Monument. We took our time exploring the valley, checking out some of the boondocking sites for future reference, and just absorbing the atmosphere of this amazing landscape.
So the Valley of the Gods has just been absolutely awesome. Absolutely love that drive and all the scenery and all the rocks. We're not completely done yet. We're going up this main road. We're going to check out the Moki Dugway.
The Moki Dugway is a 3-mile winding stretch of Utah Highway 261 that climbs 1,200 feet to the top of Cedar Mesa. It was built in the 1950s by Texas Zinc, a mining company, to transport uranium ore from their mines to processing mills in Mexican Hat.
All right, that drive up Moki Dugway was freaking cool. I know for some people that don't like driving on the edge of big old cliffs, you're not going to like it, but I loved it. That was a lot of fun. Never went over maybe 19 miles per hour, I think. Curves are like 5 miles per hour. Views are just awesome. Now we have to go back down it because we're heading the other way. I really enjoyed the Valley of the Gods and Moki Dugway area. Glad we stuck around for it because last night when we were going through the Monument Valley region and it was already dark, I was really getting discouraged and almost decided to just take off and keep on driving east and not worry about it. And I'm glad that we went ahead and found us a spot to camp early and just relaxed a bit and enjoyed this today because this was awesome to see. One of my favorite parts of this trip, probably. Now, we still have more in this area to see. So the Valley of the Gods is located right outside of the small community of Mexican Hat, Utah. And of course, Mexican Hat is an odd name. It's actually named after this rock formation, which somewhat resembles a head with a sombrero on it. Mexican Hat's a pretty cool feature. They've actually got trails to go up to it and all. We're not too worried about hiking that right now. We just wanted to see it since we're here. I believe we've got one more stop in the area to see some cool scenery. We are now just west of the Valley of the Gods area at Goosenecks State Park. Goosenecks State Park got its name because the San Juan River makes a series of tight turns, or goosenecks, through this area. Officially known as an entrenched meander, the river travels more than 6 miles over a distance of just 1.5 miles. The canyon that it has carved is roughly 1,000 feet deep, uncovering a rock record exposing 300 million years of time. That's a pretty awesome canyon there. This river's just snaking around through it, slowly eroding. It's about 1,000 feet down. That is a lot of layers. Goosenecks State Park, really cool thing. If you're in this region of Mexican Hat and the Valley of the Gods and all that, it's worth a stop just to see. We're on the road now and we have punched in directions for home. We have got to get going and be back in a couple of days. That doesn't mean that we won't stop and see things along the way. Okay, so I did adjust my route home for one more stop. Since we're already so close, we thought it might be kind of cool to stand in 4 states all at the same time. We are at Four Corners Monument, here where the four corners of the states of New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado all meet. It is a tribal park. Let's see this. Four Corners Monument is a Navajo tribal park. There's not a lot of amenities other than genuine Native American souvenirs, a few short hiking trails, and of course, the opportunity to stand in all 4 states at once. Do you feel very divided or separated having being in 4 different states at once?
Not so much.
Not so much. So cool little experience there, huh?
Yeah.
So back behind the Four Corners Monument is their trailhead to the State Line Trail. We're going to walk just a little bit of it. We don't really have any set time limits or anything. We're just going to see what we want to see and turn around, just check it out.
It says watch out for reptiles, rattlesnakes, lizards, spiders, centipedes, scorpions, coyote, etc. Well, I didn't know that spiders, centipedes, scorpions, and coyote were reptiles.
Dun-dun-tsh.
That's a new one.
So we just did about the 6/10 of a mile little loop trail there, but there are other branching trails off of that for somebody that had more time and wanted to explore the area more. Still a nice little option if you happen to ever find yourself at the Four Corners. Four Corners is a pretty cool little thing. If you happen to be anywhere in the area, it's worth checking out real quick. Not something I would say to go out of your way for, but still pretty neat. Now we are in Colorado. We are heading east. You know it, back towards the Midwest. So brings to a close another one of our amazing Sloan's Wilderness Expeditions road trips. We missed a lot along the way. There are so many more places to see. Historic towns, Native American ruins, arches, canyons, mountain ranges, and so on. With each adventure comes new enlightenment. These trips are my therapy sessions. Feel free to drop suggestions in the comments for future adventures, and as always, please give a like and subscribe. Thanks for coming along. Until next time, peace out.